Okay. So again, last homework was to close all of your pull requests, and again, you had to comply with another person from your group, and that means they would tell you what you did wrong. So some of these right here, as you can see, I will review it, and then he basically made a comment that please use page object model, right? And that wasn't done. He didn't even acknowledge the comment, all right? That's from the last class, which I saw the exact thing here. And so in a real work environment, this is kind of like, I would say like this would be an offense where I would, if I was a QA lead or QA manager, I'd pull him to the side and ask him what's going on his, on his side in terms of what I can do to help. If personal life coming into his work life and he's not able to balance both, that's the question that I need to ask. Because if he cannot, spend the hours that was given to him, and which is 8 hours per day, which is paid, and he's not able to spend that much time for whatever reason, then he needs to let us know so that we can move forward. Two scenario, if he was maybe a contractor, I wouldn't even have a discussion. I would call his contracting company and replace him with somebody else that the contracting company would provide. And it'd be easier. I wouldn't even have to have, too many process in the HR side, right? If this was a full-time position and he did this, and it's been 2 weeks already, no compliance related to the changes. His PR did in March, that therefore he didn't even do the task that was asked. And this is, QA lead is looking into it and he's thinking, why is this sitting on to pull request review for this long? He would probably give the first warning if he was a full-time employee. And the first warning would come with maybe some sort of like, support, right? The support would be like, let me help you and let me go over this and let's see how far we can go. And then they would probably, and it's all about the intention of the person who's gonna handle this situation. So if this was a QA lead who wants to get rid of him, he would probably add him to the hardest possible task there is. And he would ask, and this time with the warning, he would say that he would want the task to be done in timely manner. And he would also have HR sitting right at the same meeting. So HR can take their notes. The following week, it would be second morning. And then after that, he'd be let go. But obviously, like all this is going to be stressful to the person who's doing this, right? The person who's not really complying and not doing their job. It's not that hard if you really put the time on it, right? So just keep that in mind. In real case scenario, this is not going to fly at all. This is, if you are thinking of long term, you just put your foot in the door and you want to stay in the business for long term, and you want to probably become an expert at some point, and even probably somebody better than me, then you have to get your progress, right? You have to basically increase your knowledge level as time goes by. Otherwise, you know exactly what you know, and you do not have any additional knowledge as time goes by. And that's where the problem is, right? Where you can no longer take any more extra knowledge, therefore you're not learning. Things are changing, right? 5 years ago, what I taught in QA is different than today, right? So everything is being changed. And if you cannot progress and keep up with the current technology, then you're never going to be, it's not sustainable, basically. It's like, it's really not going to be sustainable. You can try, but then when you fall, you're not going to be able to get up. So that's one of the example. I guess in your view, let's go one by one. Why the homework wasn't done, and I would like to also, maybe I'm going to offer the second, possible scenario to see if we can help in this situation. And by the way, your homework, upcoming homework is going to be big. I do plan to do a final homework, and which will include the entire application automation, including manual testing. And then, and that homework is gonna be at least the decision maker of if you actually, what you achieved. Because I need to be able to tell you in terms of how much you learned at the end, right? And also you need to also be able to ask yourself if you're ready for what's out there and if you can actually apply for jobs, right? So if you want to progress and get a placement, I'm gonna need that final homework so I can tell you, hey, the last 2 months, 3 months, you did well. You got like maybe like 85 out of 100, and you did well, and you should probably pursue. Even if you don't do well on the final, you can still pursue and start the placement process. But again, you need to know, I need to know, how much, we have learned from this course throughout the, last couple months, and obviously we have maybe 4 to 5 more weeks left. So it's gonna be beneficial for both sides. And I'm gonna prioritize to those who have higher score. I'm gonna basically sit down one-on-one on the placement side rather than going based off the lowest score. So just keep that in mind. So let's go one by one, right? We'll start from Evelina, just because your name comes first with the alphabetic order. Evelina,
I'm
you can go
here.
first. Mhm. What was the hardest part about this homework that you couldn't complete?
No, I'm just really slow on this, Joel. I didn't do this part yet. I'm getting there.
Okay, okay. And then you have Delina there that you guys can probably do each other's pull request, and it should be faster than others because some other people would have to reach out to a person who may not be available all the time. So I thought it would be easier for you guys.
We're just like on two different levels. Like she's a little bit ahead of me, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to catch up. And I think that's where we're disconnecting. But we have
Got it.
been trying to go back and forth together, definitely.
Okay. Fabio, are you good with that homework? The last homework that we did?
With the last homework, I'm not that familiar right now. I'm trying to catch up so far, and I'm just going to the beginning of it and trying to relearn it again.
Okay, so you're gonna go back and watch the videos, right? Because upcoming class and homework is gonna be very, very tough for you, especially because you missed few classes.
Yeah,
So I would say,
I gotta get familiarized with.
yeah, and I would say go back and watch again for you especially, and for the people that are brand new to this. If you guys finish it well, then like I said, I'm gonna be sitting one-on-one to help you with the job placement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Galina, I know you did probably more. Let's see, but I know you have few PRs open already. So
Hi, Joel. Yeah. So
yeah.
I was concentrating on the CSV videos
Mm-hmm.
this past week.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know we had to do the pull and push, but I think Evelina pushed everything. I pulled it all my I didn't look back to it to like change few things, but because I was a little behind on the other files, so I wanted to catch up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you did the CSV, that's already like 70%, 80% of the homework. I think that was
Yeah, I
the
was
hardest
getting
part about
some
the homework.
I was just getting some errors, so I was stuck. But yeah, I'm almost done with it.
Okay. Gianna.
Yeah, similarly to Fabio, we all fell behind during the last few classes, but we're still trying to catch up to make sure that we get to the job placement and the final homework as
Okay.
well.
Okay, yeah, keep that in mind, especially because you have working experience. So I
Yeah,
wouldn't expect you to, be slow to do those homework. You should be able to do it faster. Jahidul.
I gotta pick it up. Yeah.
I'm just like trying to like catch up and stuff. I think I just need like a little bit more time to like understand it, and then eventually I could like finish it because I'm still like trying to work on the test cases thing. And yeah,
Okay, and then you know that if you take a picture of the code and you post it on ChatGPT, it gives you explanation of the code, right? So, and this is for everybody. I'm not just saying to you. If you feel like you don't understand something, you take a screenshot or you copy and paste it and put it on ChatGPT and say, explain it to me. And you should be able to still move forward that way. Because at work, nobody can tell you you shouldn't be using it. Maybe in your team or the company will blacklist the URL of ChatGPT, but nobody can tell you not to use your personal, right? You can still use your phone to look things up as a research tool. Okay, let's move on. Laho. I think you did. I don't see any of your peers open. Let me see. Oh no, you have two
I have like
open
4.
right now. Okay. I see. Okay.
So
All right.
right now, so
Go ahead.
for this scenario, so are we talking about the homework with the CSV one, or is the previous
The
classes
homework
homework?
was CSV first because
Mhm.
last homework was to close all of your PR and you guys didn't do it.
Okay,
So
so
it was combined
yeah.
of both.
Okay, so the Thursday class I didn't join, but last night I have watched the video, but today I will do the CSV homework and I will, push the code and pull it from the GitHub. As I already last night mentioned, probably Tamim, he will review my code or anybody I will assign. But yeah, I think I mean, study with the page object model a little bit more because that's where I get sometimes confused. So yeah, I mean, that's all I have to update so far.
Okay, sounds good. Marijana, you're nice. And again, provide as much as information as possible. So if there's anything that I can do, I'll try to help.
So I am a little behind on class 9 and 10 because I missed those 2 classes. The second class I missed because of tech issues, and the first class I texted you about. I'm up to date until day 8, so I'm just trying to catch up.
Okay, that's fine. It's okay. You guys can catch those last few classes if anything. If it's something that you missed, or even you feel like it was tough. And remember, you guys are so close to finish line. I would hate to see not getting the last bit of the class because it's gonna be. Today we're gonna handle how to handle alerts, and I'm gonna talk about alerts all day long. And there's different kind of alerts that you get on applications. And then this knowledge are just piling, right? And I cannot just go and revisit something, right? At the end, we're gonna probably do like a summary class where we'll go over everything that we can possibly think about. And it'll be a long, maybe like 4 hours class. But at least, catch up so that way you don't feel like you're hearing for the first time when I talk about this stuff. All right, the next person here is Hossein.
Yeah, so I finished my CSB homework. It almost 95% done. I have a little issue. So if I get chance to share my screen, maybe it will be better later.
Okay. That's fine, but that means, that's 90% plus you missed the whole pull request review. So that's, maybe another 40+% there. Okay, Farah?
Yeah, so sorry, Joel. I had family events back to back. Still catching up from last class, but I should be okay by tomorrow or tomorrow, before Thursday's class. I should be up to.
Okay, again, priority. You have to see what's your priority. Your
Yes.
priority is you with this course, the last 3 months. I mean, already we passed half of the 3 months, but priority is the main thing because once you learn it and you know how to work with it, you never have to go back. Maybe you're not gonna know everything by heart, but at least you'll be able to move around doing research. And at least after finishing the course, some of you guys getting the job, you'll probably never gonna have to look back into these tools. Piero, you're next.
Yeah, Joe, for the GitHub, I understand it a lot better than my understanding of page object model. That's the one where I get like really stuck on, and I don't really know like how to make it work because I don't know, I just get lost in whether and what to put in the locators.
Mhm.
So that's the reason why I didn't do it, because I didn't want to just dump all my like test cases with the long like um test like lines and have people just tell me the same thing. I wanted to be able to use the page optic model, but I'm just like really stuck on that.
Okay. All right. Again, reminder to you and Fabio and Franco is that if you guys don't catch up before the next few classes, it's gonna be a big miss. Okay, so because you guys are behind by everybody because you missed few classes due to your family situation. And if you don't catch up on time, you're not gonna be able to do the final homework. Okay, so just make sure that you guys catch up sooner than later. Don't wait for the next week. Otherwise, you're gonna continue to pile up homeworks. You probably piled up already 4 homeworks, so I would say do go back and do those. Okay, Shazad is next.
Yes, Joel, I actually get up to the GitHub too, but the thing is, I also have the issue with the POM file project module object, where I just wanted to be sure that I'm getting the knowledge of how to work with it. And that's the reason when I pull and push the code in GitHub, I know Tamim reviewed it and he said I need to work with the POM file, so I'm still working on it. I still need to practice a little bit more. I'm going to watch the video, I guess, and try to keep up for the next class, hopefully.
Okay, so imagine you're saying this to your team when you're working, for example, and you go in and you're saying, yeah, I'm still working on it. I don't know, I just didn't have the time, whatever the case, or I just, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. And this is for all of you guys, right? It doesn't look good at all because automation is supposed to make everybody's life easier, but you guys are dragging it. You're not showing the fruit of the tree. You're not letting the tree grow so they see the benefit. So what's the point of having automation in the team? If you're not really making things happen, you're supposed to bring in the changes. You're the one who's supposed to provide them with efficiency. And if you come with less efficiency and it requires for you to it requires more fuel to just get you going, then what's the point of even, having you there, right? So just keep that in mind. You have to be more slick and better than everybody else. Lastly, Tamim, what happened? Usually you finish the homework.
So as you can see at my pull request, they're not there because they are closed and merged. So I finished that one already. I'm working on the CSV, but I don't think we're supposed to push it to the Git. So that's why whatever I have, I did not push it. But the other homeworks are already pushed and merged. Should be, if you do a pull request, it should be part of the master file.
All right, that's fine. But like I said, most of you guys, again, at workplace right now, maybe obviously by this far, I would hate to, go ahead and tell anybody okay, don't continue this, because any effort is good effort. It's always good to have something than having nothing. So even if you made 10%, 20%, 30% progress and you learned something and you feel like you learned something, if you can add on to that, you're gonna be successful, and again, going into a position like this, you don't need that 100% knowledge that I'm giving you right now. Nothing has to be 100%, but at least you should know what they are and how to move around and do the basics. And everything that we touch is basic. I didn't even get to the advanced yet. So I would say go back, do the homework so that we can move on and continue. All right, let's go to today's class. So if you look into playwright.dev, again, this is a source of truth. This is where we go for documentation research and see how we're gonna be doing something differently when we need to. So notice we have handled frames. We did frames already, okay? And we've been using Locator API since the beginning. But we didn't do the alerts. We did few of these features that Playwright offers, So let's see how Playwright handles alert and then learn how to do that ourselves. There is so much to go over, right? I mean, Playwright even does accessibility testing. Who knows what accessibility testing is? Let me ask. All right. Okay, let's see, Farah, what is accessibility testing? Okay, let's ask another person.
Can you hear me?
See
Hello?
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
we can hear you now.
So I'm sorry. I would think accessibility testing has to do something with the website application. Maybe something like with people with disabilities. Does it
Right.
maybe, right?
Yeah,
Because
people that have
Mhm.
disability.
disabilities,
So
right?
let's say, you know, your services provide to all, you know, all the general public, right, in the United States, especially healthcare. So if your application is not accessible by somebody who cannot hear, or maybe who cannot type for not having fingers, or maybe somebody who cannot even see. So a blind person, let's take that as an example. A blind person requires healthcare, right? They should deserve the same treatment as a regular person, right? They shouldn't be discriminated just because they're disabled. So they go to the website, and now because they're blind, but they're still able to use the tab, right? And then tabbing through the application. And there's something called screen reader. Okay, so if you ever like press wildly on your Mac or Windows and you see it kind of reads to you, things reads to you, that is called screen reader. That screen reader reads them every time the mouse hovers over something. So if the mouse goes here, it will say community. And how does it know it's community? It's because the word itself goes into different attributes. So developers basically, especially puts roles and let me actually add this one at the underneath on the side, or okay, let me just add it under. So I don't know if this is going to be accessible, but maybe we can go to a government website which should be accessible. So like this is probably not accessible, right? Because it's not going to read properly. So for example, a blind person, if it yells at them, oh, you're at the community link, it doesn't help them, right? It doesn't help what does the community link does, right? So the developer can actually add a little bit more information. So let me edit for the developer in this case. If I can, let's see, edit the HTML. Okay. So the developer will add a new label, and it's called, what was the label we used before? ARIA label, right? Oh, there you go. ARIA labels. Okay, so ARIA labels is equal to, now I can add more information. Let's say community link. Click here to basically to see more details or the post about Playwright, for example, right? So I added a little bit more context to this. So now if the screen reader goes into that, it will say, oh, you have, hover over community link, but this community link will take you to see post about Playwright, right? So now this blind person has more context in terms of moving around on the application. Okay, they could be using iPad and just literally tapping through their, through the finger, whatever is the case. Likewise, if somebody cannot type and the only thing they're using maybe their eyelid to just move around, like the only thing they're using is tab and click, and that's it in the application, they should be able to do that without having to use keyboard. And so now if somebody is tabbing through the application, it should be in order, not jumping around. It should take them to the actionable items where they would like to continue. So that's called keyboard navigations. So you have accessibility testing with both keyboard navigation as well as screen reading. So the big part is you should be able to do screen reading as well as keyboard navigation. And that's it. So it has been prior to this, obviously, prior to having a tool where Playwright can actually do this automatically, people would go and do accessibility testing by downloading a, Chrome plugin, for example. AXE is called AXE Dev Tool, right? So now I can go into AXE Dev Tool. Let's see. And I'll actually download it for you guys to the Chrome as an extension. And then let's see what is not accessible and what is accessible, right? So, and I can actually go ahead and start this. Let me add this to the pin right there. And I can actually see if it's accessible or not. And I think it requires signing, if anything. But anyways, for those who's using Playwright, you don't have to worry about this because the same tool is available through Playwright built in. Okay, all we have to do is call this library. Okay, and that's it. That's all we have to do when we are doing accessibility testing. So we'll probably look into this. But again, just know that if you ever hear somebody says, "Oh, have you done accessibility testing?" Now you can say, "Yes, I did." Because why? Because you know what they are. Not only that you can manually test it, you can actually go through and act like a blind person and see if you can use the application, which is going to be extremely hard, but you can still evaluate the application that way. Like that's called manual testing. You can act like somebody who don't have any access to anything other than tab and click. That's keyboard navigation. And if you are able to do most of the transaction in the application, that means it's accessible. That is also manual testing. But if you're using a tool such as this, like a dev tool, where it gives you a score, it tells you where the issue is. It gives you a list of issues that could be, resolved. Then that's automation in a way, but requires human to click on the button, right? But when we are doing it through Playwright, it doesn't require clicking on a button. It just requires for us to run our tests. So we can actually add this as part of our automated tests, right? So now you know how accessibility works. It goes based on, it scans for WCAG violations, WCAG 2.0. Maybe what is the next new one? Let's see. If you go into this WCAG, what does WCAG means? Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. Okay, now 2.1, it used to be 2.0. And based on these guidelines, it finds violations. And those violations, you can go to the developer and say, hey, I'm seeing these issues. Can you fix them? And if he says, no, I can't, then you would say, okay, tell me the reason why, and then we can move on from here. Not everything will be fixed, right? So he will tell you what can be fixed and what cannot be fixed. And then you can talk to your team to see why that, some things that are not going to be fixed. So this guidelines, it follows, it gives you a list of issues based on this guideline. And that's about it, right? If you're doing manual testing, you're not using this, you would be like using your own eyes, you'd be using your own hands and writing down all the issues that you can see. Okay, that's how you do accessibility testing. So now you know what accessibility testing is, and you can actually talk about it. So I'm going to move on from there, and I'll just probably show you guys an example, but we'll go back to our main thing, right, which is dialogue and alert. So Playwright can interact with the web page dialogue, right? Alert, confirm, prompt, and also pre-run loaded confirmation, right? So we got alert, confirm, and prompt and dialogue, right? So not only that we're going to talk about alert, but we also have all these other methods that Playwright provides, and why they are important. Think about it. So if you are if you're in an application and all of a sudden you see like a window, like, okay, let's see, Java. So let me go and find an alert example, like to show you guys. Test it now. I'm going to go ahead and click here and boom, Okay, so now this shows up. How do you deal with this? Who can tell me, how do you deal with this alert? On your application, you have this box showed up when you clicked on something. Okay, so if you click on it, boom, it shows up and you can't move anywhere else. If you click on it, it'll not make you move. Sometimes it'll gray the background and you can't go to the next step. How do you handle this kind of alert? All you want to do is click on OK. So if I click on, let's see, I'll go ahead and do alert. And so we're right here. This is for, okay, this is a dialog, which is not alert. So let me just go into alert and open up Windows alert. Okay, this is just an example. Okay. This is JavaScript alert. So let's see what Playwright is providing, right? By default, dialogs are auto dismissed by Playwright. So you don't have to handle them. Okay, so all right. But we have to handle at some point, right? What if we want to see the alert because it's part of the application process, it's part of the flow. So it says by default dialogs are auto dismissed, so what if it just clicks no instead of yes, so it'll just by default is designed to click, and continue, right? So that's why when you run your tests, when you actually write a test in Playwright, you're not going to see the alert because it dismisses it for you. You can register dialog handler before action that triggers the dialog, right? So like, let's say you have a situation where you want to click and alert shows up and you want to read what the alert says. And then based on that, you want to click yes or no. There's two buttons here, okay or dismiss, whatever is the case. And if that is the case for you, you want to click yes or no based on the message here, then you wouldn't be able to continue with the default, what the Playwright says, right? So if you want to click here, you would have to register to Playwright like this one. Okay, so page.on dialog, and you can say accept, you can say dismiss, and let's see what else you can also click by using the click method. Okay, and then you have let's see, before re-unloaded dialog. Okay, so when a page closes, inbox the truly run before unload value, the page runs unload handler, and this is the only case when page close does not wait for page to actually close, because it might be the page says open and operating. So you can use this in this case where register dialog handler to handle before run unload dialog yourself. So I don't remember using this a lot. I do remember using these, where you want to click on accept and you want to click on dismiss. So let's go ahead and see an example of this, and move on from there. And then we're going to also look at the evaluating JavaScript part. We're going to do also events. There are events that takes place in JavaScript. A frame, we already did that, right? We don't need to look into frame. And let's see what else. We have screenshots, right, that you can specifically take for your test. Okay, but let's look at the dialog right now. And for this, I may just use this application, but let's see if I can find something better. A web page that have dialog when you click on it, right? So Selenium practice. The reason I'm writing Selenium because people create websites for Selenium for testing purposes. So, it's easy to use. So, okay, let's see how to handle pop-ups alert. Let's see. Okay, there you go. I see somebody created. Somebody always creates something only for Selenium, but it's been, Selenium is here for the longest, right? So that's why. So now if you click on this, boom. If you click on this, okay button alert will appear after 5 seconds. So it takes a little bit of time, and there we go. This will give you confirmation box. So we are going to be able to do testing for all of this scenario. So you see, OK button alert will appear after 5 seconds. So if I click on it, boom. So every time you click, it will open, but it will open multiple if you really not careful about it. Okay, so let's automate this. Okay, I'm gonna write a flat file in the beginning, just like before. And then obviously you guys are not to do flat files. Just because I'm teaching something specific, I'm gonna go on the flat file, but you guys should be following the best practices. What is this stuff? Automation, okay, I have it here. Perfect, okay. All right, so let's add a new test. New file, I'm just gonna name it alert. Okay, dealing with alert maybe, right? Dealing alert.js. Okay. And then we'll just get a template from our example, just a single test, so we can at least have a starting point. Okay, so far so good. Right, so now here we are, we have to go to this
You already
website.
created a new file under the test, but you didn't write down the spec .js.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll have to add that. Let me see what I did. Oh yeah, okay. So if you don't write spec, Playwright doesn't know if it's a test or not, so it will exclude from running. Like if you're running as a group, then it should exclude because it doesn't know whether that is a test or not. So always make sure. An interview question was like, oh, how do you name your, Playwright test? And I said, and the guy lost his mind. And I said, oh, I just name it based on the camel casing. Like, what? What? What he was expecting, because people are so new to Playwright, they have no idea. He was expecting me to say spec.js, it should be the extension. I thought spec.js is something that he would know by default, like, okay, this is it, right? This is the way that we actually name. There's no other way that Playwright is prescribing how you're gonna name your file. But the guy lost his mind. Okay, so let me just. So we go there. Obviously, we can wait for something. So maybe wait for the title, just like the test itself. I'm gonna have to find the title. Do you know where is the title, guys? We talked about it. Who knows where the title is?
Are they all the way on the top? HTML.
HTML. Let me just open this. This is acting weird. Oh, because of this thing right here. Oh goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on the side. Okay. So if I go in the HTML right here, exactly which tag contains the title?
You gotta expand all the way up the head.
The header. On top.
There is no header tag. So tell me exact tag name. We will have title of the page. I'm not gonna expand it, because if I expand it, then you see the answer, and therefore it's no point.
Should be the head, right? All the way up.
Head. Okay, so head. This is the one that will contain title. If not, obviously, it's not necessary that developers are gonna be nice enough to put title for every page. So let's see if somebody was nice enough in this case, right? So I open the head, and what do I see? There's a bunch of stuff in it. He have a lot of things that he's using. So all these styles and stuff is part of it. I don't see anywhere it's just title, honestly. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so he didn't care enough to put a title. Okay. Oh, there you go, right here. Okay, he did put title. Okay, so I was about to bash on him. Okay, so title is there. And I'm just gonna say right here. Okay, so as long as the title is there, we're good to go. I'm gonna run this test to make sure that it works, and then we will then start clicking on each one to learn how to deal with it. So dealing with alert dot spec.js had it. And I'm gonna stop pushing my code to you guys because I want you guys to replicate this on your own and not just start copying. Okay, so clear. Now we know that the test runs perfect. I don't want to go and record anything, so I want to go ahead and click on the first button, guys. What should I do? What should be the best practice? I know I already checked for the title, so I know I'm on the right page. What should be the next? You don't have to tell me the code. What should be the next thing that I should do here?
Okay, the elements.
You would create the element, right? Okay, so let's say you would create the element. How would you do this? So if I go into the button right here, what is the locator that you're gonna use in this case? It's such a
You can use ID.
thing. Oh, there we go. So you got the ID, you got the class, also the text itself. So I'm gonna take the ID, but I want to test it. I can't just go ahead and use it. It's always good to test your IDs. Otherwise, what's gonna happen is that you're gonna spend 2 hours thinking it should work and it's not working. So I'm gonna go, sleep, wake up in the morning, and spend 2 more hours and still not working, and then you realize, oh, I should have checked because this is more than just one thing. And it happened to me many times. Okay, so always make sure that locator is perfect before even telling yourself, oh, I did everything right. Why is it not working? Okay, so I can do click directly. Since I know that I'm on the right page, I can also wait for the locator. Okay, so just to be safe, I'm gonna wait for the locator, and for that to happen, if I do it like this, okay, look. Paste, and if I say the word wait for, this is the locator. Sorry, this is the action that I'm doing. Now, what is happening line number 8 and 9? We have up to this much duplicated, okay? There is no need for that. So we can say const alert, or maybe like first alert. btn is equal to, go ahead and do this right there. And now that we have this element created, I can just go ahead and remove the need for all of these. Okay, so now that we go ahead and click, and then maybe I'll put a sleep so we can see what happens here. Like I can say, await page dot wait for like one of these right here, timeout maybe. And I can say wait for 50 seconds. I can see physically what happened before I do next course of action. So now I can just go ahead and run my test. Okay, let's see. Did it click? Did it click, guys? What do you think? What just happened? Who can tell me if it clicked or not clicked? And we read it in the very beginning when we started with alert. We talked about what is the default behavior of Playwright with alerts.
Should click OK, right?
It gets handled automatically.
Yeah. So it was clicked and Playwright suppressed it. Okay. So if you go back, let's go to our documentation. And that's why I don't want to write the code early. I want to make sure that everybody have a visibility of what's happening. Okay, so let's go and type alerts here. Alert. Okay. By default, dialogues are auto dismissed by Playwright, so you don't have to handle them. They're dismissed. They're not click OK. They're just removed. They're not click OK. So your application is not going to allow you to move forward. your app, the developer built, is gonna say, wait a minute, we sent an alert, but something happened. We didn't register what just happened, unless you click on accept. Okay. So now, if you want to register, you have to say what is about to happen prior to click, and you have to register that. So you're saying page.on dialog, and you're registering this way, and you're saying click on accept. But this accept will happen when you actually click on a button. Okay. And that button triggers a, dialog. Okay. And we should be able to do a lot more than just dismissing, because I don't see any other. Okay. I need to see a little bit more information in terms of, okay, there is an alert specifically section, maybe the alert API. Actually, let's see. It's just dialog. Okay, just look for the right. Okay, I'm gonna Google it, and it should bring me back to the playwright.dev. Okay, so handle. Okay, let's see. Handle JS alert playwright. How many people here know what is the difference between JavaScript alert versus a alert from the application itself? What is the difference? Oh, I clicked on the wrong website. Okay. Dialog. Okay, this is dialog. I thought they. Okay, that's fine. They probably changed recently. Now, who can tell me the difference between an alert? Like I'm talking about this alert when you click on it, this alert versus when you click on something. Let's see. I'm gonna go to the model alert. For example, this alert. What is the difference between this alert versus this alert? This alert right here. And then we also have browser window. It opens up a tab versus new window, opens up something like this. We have window message. So this is also considered as like a model alert, whatever is the case, pop-up. Think about that way. It's like a pop-up right there. Alert is kind of like a pop-up. Frames is also almost like a pop-up, at least the way you handle it is going to be very similar. And so is this. I think frames, these two already covered. Remember, we did that. So model, alert, we should handle these three today. Anybody can tell me the difference? You see how beside looking like the alert looks ugly compared to the model dialog? Like if I click on this, you see it looks a little bit better, and then the behind becomes gray, right, by default. Okay.
JavaScript alert is basically on the web in the browser itself, where the alert is based on the application. JavaScript is just on the web page, on the page itself.
Mm-hmm.
And the alert can be in the regular application. Like the first one you showed us, it's right from the browser with the JavaScript within the page.
Okay, so what you're trying to say is that with alert, we don't have much control because it comes from the browser itself. If I try to inspect it, there's nothing for me to inspect. Okay, so the moment you know if it's a JavaScript alert or not is by just looking that it looks something like this. It has nothing else, no title, and sometimes they can actually put title. But if I try to inspect it, it doesn't even like highlight. It doesn't acknowledge. So that means this is a JavaScript alert, right? Which come from the browser itself, and we have a different way of handling it. Then if you go to the model alert, which is this, and if it's open, I can actually inspect it. Okay, it has a title and other things. Okay, as you can see, it comes inside of an iframe, and you can handle it various ways. You can actually click on it too. So for you to handle, it's going to be very similar to how we handle general, elements. But for JavaScript, it's different. So, but what Playwright has done is that they put all of them into a single, basically prompt, alert, dialogues, all of them are handled very much similar way because they, they handled it. The code was written for them in the same place. Seems like. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this. Easy page dialog is equal to dialog.accept. And this is the click that happens. Let's see what does the note say here. Page on dialog listener must be handled and must handle the dialog. Otherwise, your action will stale. Be it locator.click or something else. That's because dialogues in the web are models and therefore block further page execution until they are handled. Okay, so if you're not doing this, then nothing, it's your locator API cannot do anything. It will not really move forward. So this is actually, again, this is the wrong way. You can see that that first you're trying to locate and dialog.message, but then you haven't handled it, right? What you did here is that you're able to get the message of the dialog and you printed it, as you can see, console.log, but you didn't really do anything with it. So let's go ahead and copy this and go ahead and add it to our tests and see what happens before we click the button. Okay, so on page, right, so I can put await. And we got the dialog box there. So let's see what does it prints. And it shouldn't really, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the click so that we can see what happens. Okay, we need the trigger, so we need the click. Sorry. It's listening for the alert now, so let's go ahead and run it again. Okay, this time alert is there. And because we were handling the alert ourselves rather than Playwright, it stayed there. What we haven't done yet, right? We didn't really dismiss or click. So alert was handled now by us by putting this specific code right here. And it is supposed to print a message. So let's see, printing a message, you can see you click a button, you clicked a button, and that's the message is printed for you. But at the same time, remember what the playwright.dev said, that if you actually handle it yourself, like for example, this is a good example that they provide us with. You did handle it on your own in terms of dialogue, and you said, I want the message, but then you didn't really do anything after. This click actually triggered the dialogue. So you didn't really do anything after. That's when we have a problem where your test is not going to move any further. Okay. And so now we can go ahead and say accept. We can actually accept it. So if, like, let's say clicking OK is the only thing the dialog is allowing you to do or want to do, then you can go ahead and accept. In addition to that, you can actually also validate if the message, dialog message have the right message, right? As you can see, you can actually put an assertion there. So now instead of dismissing it, you can actually accept. So all you have to do here, dialog.accept, and now you're accepting, and it should go away because we're clicking OK. Okay, so it's pretty fast. And it says promise is pending, something that we didn't do it right. So what happened is that when we clicked on it and we wanted to do accept, somehow it didn't work. Okay, let's see, maybe we okay, that's the one. This is the wrong one, right? As a result, the following snippet will never result. So this never resolved. Okay, so we did the message. This is what we followed. I'll accept. I just want to see if the code structure looks good. Oh yeah, of course. Who can tell me what I did wrong?
You don't put the await in front of click. Are you
This
having?
I don't need to. This I don't need to because I already have await here, and this is still redundant.
No.
Okay, tell me what's wrong with this code. Think about it. Okay, let's do a comparison. Like if you're really a good, if you can compare code, I got both, and tell me what I did wrong.
Just taking a. Oh, never mind.
So this is, according to you guys, this code is perfect, but somehow it's not working. And this is also like, again, this is what they gave us as an example code, right? This is what they gave us. This is the wrong example that we got. And this is another example for unload, right? So what do you think what happened here? What is something that we did wrong? Even if you look line by line, you'll find the problem. I know the problem. It's just
Is line 13 the
I
problem?
want no. It's just timeout, right? It's just gonna it does nothing but wait for 50 seconds basically.
And did you got
Okay,
extra
you guys
parentheses?
Why does it say alert button? Should we just say button?
it could be anything, right? This is a alert button is it's something that you named it. You can put your name on it, your last name on it, and it still will work as long as you're like calling it properly.
You know, like extra bracket there.
Maybe number 8.
Where is the bracket?
We write down the console.log.
Right. We got the console.log here. Okay. And that's where maybe the problem is. Okay. So now I'm going to expand this a little bit. We're not doing any action. Console.log, we're just basically logging it. This is not actually taking an action. So before we accept, maybe we want to validate what's in the dialog, right? So I can say message. So dialog.message, but I can say expect. Okay. So I can basically now, we have the expectation here. We can say expect console.message dot to, what should I use to be safe, guys? To be close to be something, right? Maybe this, right? To contain. What do you think? Is a good idea? Because it could be more than just, So now I want, if I go back to the dialog and I click on the alert, the first one, it says you click the first button. So I want to see if it contains this message, because at work, you're going to basically handle to make sure the alert shows the right message before, because the customers are going to face this. So you must validate that as well, right? So now I'm going to put the validation here. I'm saying that, okay, dialog box should have this basically, right? Once that is done, okay, so this is where the thing started, right? I can continue to write. I can say now that we validated, I want to accept. Okay, I can actually also do console.log before that. So I can say like console.log, okay. Okay. That's that. Oh yeah, this is already inside of the function. Okay. Okay. Let's see if I can do dialog dot log dot accept. Oh no, I don't want to do this. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, so not only did I confirm that the message, right? I actually confirmed the message and then I want to click on accept. That's the way that I want to go. For my situation, right? As you can see, if I go to playwright.dev, we are able to get the message. So as you can see, like you have dialog, opens it up. You're putting assertion right there. Let me just make sure my code structure is exactly the way that this example has, just to make sure. So we got the await page on, dialog, and then we don't have a sync. Okay, so it's better to, because we're gonna put maybe like await somewhere, so it's better to do a sync. A sync. And async is better than not putting it, because otherwise you're probably gonna be suffering on this. So then we got the alert.dismiss. Perfect. And hold on a second. So before that, we can open this up actually, so we don't have to put the, so this is the whole function at this moment, and I'm gonna take these two out of here. Okay, I'm gonna put it inside. And we no longer need this because now we're using a proper function. And I'm actually just looking at the example that they provide us with, so you know, we don't have to
After
guess. There is no guess.
async dialog, while you're using the equal greater than, can you explain what is that async dialog? Yeah,
What do you
async
mean?
dialog, and why this is like this function we are using.
Yeah, we're using the arrow function. You guys know what this is? Got the await. Async is not necessary in the top in the beginning. Page dot on. Okay, so we're good now. Who can tell me what this is means? The arrow function. Anybody? Okay, so this arrow means it's a function. Okay, this is a function now. Okay, if you don't have the arrow, then it's not a function, it will be a method. So just keep in mind, and the way that instead of saying function, async function, previously, the previous version of JavaScript, you would actually spell it out, what function. With the new version of JavaScript, you don't have to spell it out. You can just go ahead and use the arrow function. Okay, so now that we have this, let's run it and see what kind of problem we're facing at this moment, at least, and then we move on from there. Go ahead and click, and should be quick. And let's see. It seems like it's hanging there, so let's see. So it clicked on it and nothing happened. You know, it clicked on, oh, okay, sorry, it clicked on it and it just went away for some reason. So I can put probably await here. So that way, maybe the await was the issue for us. Okay, so let me just go ahead and, oh no, it did actually go through. It actually clicked and it was super fast probably. So I'm gonna probably put some time out. Okay, click. Okay, so we have to wait the 50 seconds because remember, we have this waiting right here. Before we can confirm if it worked or not, it was just super fast. Okay, come on, 50 seconds. We're still waiting. Okay, I'm gonna reduce this to like, I'm gonna just remove this. It should be like instant then. Okay. It passed. It actually went through it. I can probably put this inside so we can see. But if the exception, the expect failed,. Then you would know that, So how do I know if this worked or not? Let's put something gibberish in here. Okay, if this is supposed to be there, otherwise, if it's not there, then obviously we would know. Oh, look at that. It failed. And so now we can see, let's see if it gives us the right message. If it fails, then waiting for the button, visible, blah, blah, wait. So we didn't even get to this, right? And we are not printing anything here. So that's another reason maybe we're not getting the right message. But if I remove this, I would be able to. I'll be able to see my test pass. So now I'm gonna with this, I'm gonna run my tests to see if this passes. Okay, where's the wait for? Alert button. Wait for test at the end. I just want to see what just happened. Okay, that's good. Wait for, probably unnecessary there, but anyways, let's try it without it. It's not clicking on it. Okay. Yeah, it's not clicking on it because all these things, like the dialog has to show up before we even check for this. So 1 second. And okay, await dismiss and page dot pause. No, that's not the one. Let's see. Let's do a Google search. Playwright. Verify alert. Alert. They don't have proper examples. That's the problem. So I'm gonna try to see any other research that can be handy in this case, right? So this is eventually found a way. This is the same. This is different than what I thought. Handle alert. Okay, that's probably more promising here. Let's see what this guy has. So we get the message, we get the accept. So all of these we are familiar with by now. We saw it over there, but we don't know with a good example, right? So this is the alert for, like, this is a demo link that he provided. So you guys are free to use this if this turns out to be good. So let's explore a little bit. So this is how the code looks like. So dialog, async dialog, and then verify type of dialog. So we did this expect type to contain something, right? So we did this already, all right? And then verify message. So again, type this, click on alert OK button. So we also did this, right? And this is triggering the alert button, just the way that we, okay, click on trigger an alert button. So we did this already. So maybe the structure, the way that we have our code is not proper, but most of our code looks the same so far. Then we can also verify message after clicking on the OK button by doing this page.locator MSG, but this is different. This is actually not the alert. Okay, so let me just double check with this example here. Page.on async is this dialog. Oh, maybe await is kind of necessary here. I mean, let's see. It's pretty much redundant, but I will go ahead and put that because maybe it's not waiting enough time for the dialog box. Okay, so I'm gonna run it just to make sure this wasn't the issue to begin with, and then we'll come back to. Okay, all right. Well, sometime when you see where it says, "Oh, you don't need this alert," sorry, await, just because you have an async instead of the, function, don't trust it. Put await when you see you have unexpected failure. Okay. All right. So that's what I thought that our message handling alert. The only thing you're going to be dealing with alert is that you might want to check the message that the alert has provided, and then you will accept or dismiss based on that. Okay, so let's say if it says you clicked a button, if that is the text message, that is the message is there, then we want to accept. Other than that, we can do dismiss, right? So we can create that logic right here. If okay, and I can use JavaScript too. Dialog.alert, and I can say, you guys remember? There's a function that says include. The reason I use include and contains is because what if there's more word and maybe some other characters that we're not familiar with, right? So then you don't have to worry about those, So you can put your logic here. If this happens, then do this. Okay, so I'm not gonna go into that just to make it more complex for you to understand. As part of the homework, all I care about is that you handle an alert, and you accept based on after checking or after verifying the message in the alert. So that's how you deal with the alert. So now when you create your page object, obviously your locator goes in one place, but you would be able to make this as an action and then call it right before. And then you would then click on the button. The button click, it's gonna seems like you're just clicking on the button. But this button click actually triggers it, and this thing actually listens for any sort of alert comes in, as part of as basically part of the click on the button, which is the very next line after your function to handle alert. Okay, so let's go back to dialogues, right? Playwright handles the dialog box the same exact way, seems like. But let's see if we can apply the same analogy, same way to deal with the box, right? So we're gonna move away from alert now. We're gonna go into the model dialog. And then once we do the model dialog, we should be pretty good for the day. So now if I click on it, there's a small thing shows up and that's it. And I hit close, right? So if I click on this, I want to verify this message and click close. And I can do the same thing. I want to verify this message and click close, okay? So I will take this, I'll copy this basically, and I'm going to create another test underneath. Okay, I'm going to say verify alert. In this case, okay, this was one of my tests. Copy, and this is going to be verify model, right? I think model, yeah. So in this case, alert, instead of that, I'm going to probably take this dialog and I go from there. So in theory, we should be able to do the same, right? So let's go ahead and trigger a click on the small button and let's see what happens, initially. So the way that we're going to do the button click, same thing, right? We're going to find this ID, seems like it does have them. So we'll just go ahead and copy that. Paste it in here. This is going to initiate the click, and this is going to basically open up the dialog, listen for it, and click accept. In this case, if I click, it has closed, so it doesn't have accept. So let's see what happens, you know. We just wanna, and I wanna also verify this message. And I doubt this is gonna work. I don't think this will work, but you know, let's go ahead and run it. So that way we can have a proper fix, because this is something that you never have faced before. Oh, okay. Both have. Okay, so this is from the previous. Okay, this is from the previous run, so I'm not gonna count that. This message right here. So it seems like, you know, this does handle it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put something illegal, something that is not there, just to make sure that this is not just happening for anything, you know. Okay. So looks like it didn't work, right? I mean, looks like it didn't work for a few reasons, right? You got the two tests somehow. I'm just gonna run only one, so I'm gonna like go ahead and comment this out for the time being, so we can see one more time. Why is it really just okay? Verify model. 1F1. It didn't say passed yet, so it's probably thinking right now. Okay, so it's probably gonna time out, and I want to see the timeout before we go and fix this. Oh, ooh, okay. All right, well, that's not the way that we deal with this kind of models, right? Models is different. So what is the, again, like you told me before, the model is part of the application. It is not an alert, right? So it shouldn't be the same way to deal with. So let me just see if they have additional resources. So ODL prompt confirmation dialog. This is not a dialogue, right? The model is not a dialogue. Think about it. This model is not a dialogue. All right, this is part of the application. So handling this would be the same exact way. Let's see if it has a frame. First of all, I'm gonna have to see if it does have a frame. Okay, because this application is just built for learning purposes. They put multiple things in here in different frames, so we have to handle that. So you can see the role is, the whole thing is just dialogue, but it does have iframe. Okay. And but this is just a model. If this is part of the application and it's popping up, we shouldn't really need to you know, do it the way that we did, right? So I should be able to do it the regular way. So I'm gonna go ahead and handle this, but first I want to make sure this you know, this locator is unique. To make sure this is 1 of 1, I'm gonna go ahead and paste it in here. We only had one match. I'm gonna enter. As you can see, this is 1 of 1. So I can just simply, I don't even have to do it this way, right? This is not a pop-up, right? So I'm gonna remove that. Once the click took place, right? And then I can say something like this. Expect, and obviously I'm gonna put await once we finish with the line. So you can say like page dot okay, locator. Okay, that's good. Expect page dot locator to, I think, to contain, right? Is it to? So we're gonna be like checking for text, right? So I can go into my player.dev just to do a double check on the assertions. Again, everything is in here, everything. I go into the assertion. Blah, blah. Okay, to have text. Okay, this is the way that I'm gonna go about. I'm gonna copy this as a template and I'm gonna manipulate this. I already have my, class. So this is by the class, right? So I'm gonna just use the locator. This, and I'll just use my locator class rather than using something else and move this out of here. And what are we expecting to have text, which is in my case, if I go in here, I know the text is this. Okay, so I'm not gonna copy it from here because this could be always different. To your eyes, it could be different, but here it cannot be different, right? So I'll just copy it from here. So you can never go wrong doing that, instead of doing it the other way. And that's it. So you should be able to handle it this way, guys. Okay. And then at the end, you basically want to click on let me just change this, okay? Model, change this name. And then once the model is done, you verify this, you can just go back and click on the close. Let's find the close button and click on it. Okay, this is part of the application. So there is a possibility where it's going to look like a pop-up, but it's not a pop-up. Luckily, it has an ID. Control C. I did nothing different for this because there's nothing special about it. We're just clicking basically, right? So there is nothing special. It's part of the application. You don't have to do anything special for it. Okay, dot. Click, done. Okay. So if this was an alert, if this was a dialogue, which is again alert or maybe any other kind of dialogue, you'd be able to handle the other way. So let's run this, and if it now works, then we're gonna do a negative test to make sure that our code actually, works rather than just passing for everything. Okay. You just want to now make sure that your code actually works. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my name in here. Obviously, my name doesn't exist there. And if it passes, then my code will never fail. Therefore, I wrote a bulletproof test, which doesn't do anything. It doesn't really help the team. It doesn't really serve any purpose. It's just there to pass all the time, right? Which that wasn't the case. Seems like it failed as expected. And so when later developer make any changes and somehow they remove this or somehow they change this specific text because they couldn't, keep up, or maybe they forgot, then your test would be able to catch that, and then you would be able to file a bug and then prevent something from happening in production. Maybe lawsuit, whatever is the case, or maybe customers are not able to move forward with their application when they try to apply for loan, whatever is the domain that you will be working in the future. So you can see I tested my work to make sure it works. And so is the developers, right? When developers write a feature, they do the same. They test their work. So don't look for obvious mistake. Obvious mistake you're not gonna find, but sometime you will. It's always gonna be the small thing that they forgot. It's always gonna be something that is so like something requires a lot more time to be spent. Because developers, if they rushed it, you'll be able to catch something that requires a little bit of time and attention. And that's why we're there, where our job is basically the only purpose is to find those small things that they forgot and help them. Just help them, right? It's not like we're finding their fault and blaming them. All right, so now we know how to handle a model that is part of the application. How do we identify a model, guys? Tell me. Versus an alert. Okay, Jahidul, you tell me. How would you identify a model compared to an alert?
Maybe like by like you can like inspect it and see like the locator that's assigned to it.
Yeah, if
So,
you're
like,
inspecting and you're able to, let's say you go and you see, wow, you're able to just literally highlight things and you can find the locator, then it's part of the application. You don't have to do anything different. You don't have to do anything different. You just do it the normal way, okay? And this model also will see the background is great. We can't do anything else other than just click close before we move forward. So you're gonna like, you have two clues. One is the background grayed out. The other one is you're able to actually find the locators. If you don't find the locators, you know. Now there is other kind of alert that I actually faced recently dealing with a very old application. And that is like browser window, you know, like this is like back in the days. I'm talking about 15, 20 years old technology where the application still works. It's just that they don't want to upgrade the application because they probably have a better plan to create something brand new. Maybe it's no longer going to be used by customers, whatever is the case. But anyways, if you're dealing with one of those applications where when you click on it and the pop-up is just a window, or let's say the pop-up is just a new window, something like this, the way that you're going to handle this is basically it's going to be handles. Let's go handles probably. Let's see. Browsers. Okay, let me just search it. Probably better. Window handles, but okay. First window, browser window. Okay, so let me go into the first window. So here it is. When you click on it and open up a new window, the way that we just saw, you're able to use window promise, right? Wait for an event. If the window opens, you know, basically after clicking the button, then you're able to now move on to that window to do maybe an action, maybe click on it, whatever is the case, right? You can also click on it. But let me see if they have a better example because this is not the kind of example it would be. The dialog is done. We know how to deal with dialogues, which is great. Mouse hover, I don't think you guys need that. We already did that as part of homework. You got the worker, okay. Okay, window, let's see. Browser context, we're not gonna look at that. The method to add function now as our value. Let's see what they have. It's the route. This is an experimental, okay. Move to maybe like move to UI, okay. Sometimes it's not a good way to find. Okay, browser context, okay. Dialog, element handle, no. Let me see the method name. It's called move to. I believe it's move to. Okay, that's not it. Okay. Playwright, handle, multiple window or tabs. This is gonna be the same thing. Okay, there we go. Pages, pop-up window. Okay, there we go. It's just sometimes it's just harder to use the search, but when you Google it, it does give you the right index. Okay, multiple page. You got the page 1, page 2. That's context. We're not gonna do that. Maybe you're gonna have some sort of need. Maybe one context for admin profile and one context for regular public, so you can play between both. Admin makes changes, and like maybe general user, somebody who has a regular permission, they expect something when the admin makes changes to it. So you can play around this way too. You can have two different browser doing two different things rather than having same browser log in and log out, log in and log out one after the other. So you can actually save some time by doing this. But that's not what we came here for. Okay, get all new pages in the context. Okay, this is the pages. Okay. Handling pop-up. Okay, this is open. This is pop-ups. Okay. Get all pop-ups there open. So maybe one of these would be, we would be able to use when you click on, I don't know if pop-up is considered as window at this point, to be honest. context on page, every pop-up relevant to this page. Okay. So we're gonna be able to use this, example. Since every pop-up relevant to the page itself is a considered window, now the model is not a window because it's not opening. It's part of the same page. Okay, when the code, because we're able to inspect it from the same page, therefore it's same page. When you are looking at the JavaScript alert, we are not really we have no access at all, and it doesn't even open a new window or anything. So that's separate. So this will be handling one way for Windows. So it's 8:45. I do want to give you guys some time today. So the next homework, guys, is gonna be this application. Okay, I need you to write test that we go to the browser window first. Okay, all of this is gonna be your assignment, right? So and maybe we're gonna be able to use some of these, a application like this created for testing purposes. I may just use this to handle any kind of elements, because it's one page, one place. It wouldn't be fair to give you guys different applications, because then some application will have alert, some application will not have alert. So learning, you will not have that 100%. If you don't have alerts, then you don't learn how to deal with alerts, right? So okay, for this homework, I want this section, right? Alert, frame, and windows. We already did the frame, so I will not show you guys. Okay, remember, we did the frame. I'm not gonna show you guys. What I need you guys to do for the homework is that you go to the browser window, you click on one at a time, you verify the message on the window, and this is gonna be hard. This is not gonna be easy, okay? So feel free to use maybe ChatGPT on your advantage, or use the use the documentation. So I'll give you some freedom on that. But when you click on this one, you see it opens up, you want to verify this, okay? When you click on new message, you want to verify this, and then you want to close it also, right? You want to get back to it. But if closing is harder for you to do, you can, that's okay. As long as you verify, I'll take that also as an answer. So these three, you gotta handle. Then alert, I already showed you how to handle one alert. The rest of it is yours, okay? This one is wait 5 seconds, so make sure you build your code to wait 5 seconds, or maybe wait until the element appears, or use wait for, whatever is the case, and then do the same thing. We go into the frames, talked about it, we did the frame in one of our class. So I'm not gonna show you. If you missed the class, I would say go back and know how to handle frame. Or you get it easy. You come in here and you find an example and get going, right? So that will save you 3 to 4 hours if you actually just do the Playwright documentation rather than listening to me on a video. Then you go to the nested frame. So frame within a frame, I need you to verify this message, parent frame. I need you to verify child message, okay? And if you are able to do that, that's great. That's going to be one. And then we get the model. We get the small model, we get the large model. If you click on it, you want to verify this, close. You want to click on this, verify this, and close. Now this message changes all the time. This message will change all the time. It's not going to be the same. If it's same, then you verify this message. Let's see if it has survival and not the 5th century. Okay, let's see. Let me click on it again. It has, okay, never mind. It does have the same message. So if it does change for whatever reason, just verify something in here. Like one line should be fine for me. And that's it. That's pretty simple, guys. That's very simple. And I need you to create a new pull request with this. So I want to see a new pull request to this homework. But before that, all of the other PR should be closed. Otherwise, it's going to be very, it'll get clogged up. I mean, we already have this pull request 23. It's 4 pull requests. All you have to do is message the other person like, hey, what do you want me to do? Okay, page object. I did it. Can you approve? And done. And then you close them, and that's it. That's all it takes, guys. Still sitting around here. I'm gonna go once everything is closed. I'm actually gonna go and check, if it was followed properly, and then the person who accepted, I'm gonna hold him accountable. Okay, so if he accept without page object, that means you did a favor to the other person. At work, you'll probably get, smoked. So I need to also, I'll probably ask you why you did that during the class. Now the new pull request, I want you to name it specifically, homework, and you're gonna write alert, dialogue, and pop-ups. Simply, if you just say pop-up, that works, but you can say alert and dialogue handling, learning how to handle alert pop-up dialogue, right? So just name it very specific to the homework itself. This is gonna be an interesting one. Again, you're gonna be dealing with this kind of things all the time. Okay, it's never gonna be straightforward. And then to give you a taste of final project is going to be similar, where an application where we have pretty much everything, all the problems that we can think about, and we're going to create test cases and then, try to automate those. But for the time being, the homework is going to be these. We should be able to handle. Anybody else, look, if you missed the last two homeworks and stuff, but if you did this homework by itself, I want you to submit. Don't wait for the last two homework. Maybe do this one if you feel like, okay, fine, I'll catch up and I'll just go ahead and be able to finish this. Do this one first, and then focus on the others. At least I know that you have caught up. Maybe you weren't able to do the homework, but you caught up. Okay. And everything that you're doing, try to do it with page object. Everything. There is no exception to that. Page object is like given. It's part of the framework. A flat file for me, again, I'm here teaching, saving time and kind of like, demonstration, right? A demo always comes as basic as it should be, but it's your job to take this code and make it usable and better. Any questions on the homework? Everybody understood the homework. Maybe the last homework you guys didn't understand properly, didn't do it, but we okay with the homework?
Yeah, so where we are doing the homework on this, whatever test file you have already created, or we're gonna do the homework in our folders?
You would basically, so see the test is, you're gonna write a new test just like me, dealing with alerts and models and windows, right? So you're actually doing Windows model, alert, and frame. So name it properly, like handling alert, model, frame, and window, and tab also. So all of these, and just note this application. This is the application that we're going to be using for this specific homework. And this should make you really, really so far fluent with writing test automation so far, if you're dealing with this. And we'll probably touch, there are other challenges in automation, so we'll touch that. But one of the interview question is, when you do automation, what are some of the challenges? Okay, you got some challenges now. You're gonna say sometimes alerts are hard to handle because it's JavaScript, so we don't have the source code. We just need to make sure we verify and we go from dismiss or click. It's nothing bad to say. You can say these are some of the tiny challenges, aside from the biggest challenge is to probably write maintainable automation, reusable automation. That is one of the biggest challenge, but the day-to-day challenges are dealing with frames, dealing with alerts and things like that. So this is like fairly pretty good challenge. Okay. Just name it properly, push your PR. If you couldn't do the last homework, this is a separate pull request. Everything else that you piling it up, yeah, you're not gonna even get final homework until you finish your last homework. So just make sure you finish them. But most importantly, I would say, this homework, if you're able to do it, then I'll probably and then tell me like, hey, look, I did the homework. It's impossible for me to go back and catch up with other homework. Can you give me something that I can finish, and then you'll at least accept those, and I'll do it. I'll probably give you a homework that will include a little bit of everything on the last few homeworks that you missed. So at least you would be able to move forward.
So we need to use page object model, right? For the homework, for this one?
Yep, no question about it. Yeah. anything is page object, right? Anything you have to use page object model because that's the standard. Let's say you join a company tomorrow and they're new to Playwright, and you also join, and you saw that they already wrote a few tests, and then what is the right thing to do here where you see the flat file, right? You're gonna have to say, look, I appreciate the way that you wrote the test is great. We're progressing, we're increasing test coverage. But the moment we hit 10, maybe like 100 test cases, we're going to start seeing the maintainability, suffering on the maintainability of our tests. We're gonna end up copying and pasting everything all over the place. So while we have 10, 15 test cases, we should start practicing page object pattern, right? So that way we have less code, but more test cases. And the other thing is, the ultimate goal here is that whenever you're writing a new test, you shouldn't be writing everything from scratch. You shouldn't be writing like, okay, I want to go to this page, I want to do this, I want to do that. Your 80 to 90% of the test case should be already done by pre-written code. You should be only handling the new portion of the application. Okay, and that's the whole thing. Otherwise, if you write a new test case and it requires 100% rebuilding from the scratch, from 0 to all the way to 100, then again, that kind of also creates problem, like kind of defeats the purpose because you spent more time than just manually testing it. You're not making you're not making your life easier. If you're taking 2 to 3 weeks just to write a test, it's just gonna be a problem. Meaning you're not fast enough to take advantage of the automation. So by the time you finish in 2 to 3 weeks, your application has changed again. What are you gonna do? You didn't even have a single run on your automated test. Developers already made the change and pushed it. Now you have to rewrite. By the time you rewrite, you have another push. 2 weeks has passed, another 2 weeks. You are actually, your code is kind of like, I guess the application is moving target at this moment because you're not able to catch up. The target is keep moving. The only way to handle this kind of moving target is to make sure that you already have things in place, infrastructure, and test automation framework is the infrastructure that I'm talking about, where you would follow this and you would still be able to say, hey, I built a framework, and you would not be ashamed of yourself, right? If you say, I built a framework and everything is flat, you didn't build anything, you just went to playwright.dev and you followed what they had, and you didn't add any value to it. You just basically went with their example and continued to write tests. And that's it. You didn't add anything. So you can't really say I built a framework. Because it just came by itself. It's just default. Everything came, all the folders and files came by default. So you can't really say you added anything to it, any value to it. Just keep that in mind. Page object is very, very important for 2 reasons. And anytime in the automation interview, guys, like the only way you will be different than other candidates is if you say, I care about reusability and maintainability. These are the 2 things that you want to always mention if you ever take interviews for automation. And the reason why you want to mention those, because the biggest pain point for QA managers and QA lead is that they have to spend half of their resource time on just maintaining existing tests. So that way it can be, used on the next release. And they would love to see where they don't have to spend, 1 week on maintaining the, or at least the application, the tests are easy to maintain, where maybe half a day and their test is working, and ready to go. So the only way you can actually have that kind of situation where it's easy to maintain if your code is reusable. It's very, very easy to think about is that the more code you have, the more complexity and the more issues you will face. And you'll say, oh, but more code means good, we did more work. No, it doesn't mean you did more work. More code doesn't mean you did more work. Okay, more code means you did sloppy work where you just, maybe copied and pasted, maybe you just wrote a new line of code, even though you're supposed to be reusing. So again, reusability helps maintainability. If you have reusable, highly reusable framework, which includes blocks of code that can be used over and over again, it just helps saves tons of time when you're writing a new test, because you're going to be able to pull the reusable steps or reusable code that that you already wrote previous week. Now you're able to reuse and rather not write everything from scratch. So keep in mind, those who are thinking maybe I'm going to go to playwright.dev, copy and paste, and maybe I'll just go ahead and go to ChatGPT and copy and paste. Unfortunately, that's not going to work all the time. Even if you get it from ChatGPT, at least 50% of the time you're going to get wrong code. ChatGPT is also not accurate. I use ChatGPT all the time, and it gives you wrong code sometimes. And it will say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." If you confront ChatGPT, it will tell you like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and now it doesn't even say sorry. So before you did actually say, "I'm sorry, I overlooked," and now it just says, "Okay, here is the updated code." It doesn't say it no longer says sorry. But anyways, that's not what is gonna save you, right? At work, maybe you got a wrong code from ChatGPT and you think it works, and next thing you know, it creates more issues. You're gonna have people actually tell you like, "Hey, what is this?" And you're gonna say, "I have no idea," but you wrote this, and then that's when you're gonna have problems. Also, ChatGPT code is hard to identify because it comes in a very, very nice looking format. You can see the comment, always nice comments and stuff. So when you get ChatGPT answers, before you even apply, make sure you understand yourself, make the necessary changes before you push your code, and tell your coworker, "Hey, can you review my code?" Okay, so just always keep that in mind. It's not that easy. It's never going to be that easy, but that's what makes you better, right? That's what makes you more technical, and you'll be more technical. And hopefully you will be on QA automation, rather than manual testing at some point. With that said, guys, everybody understood the homework. I am gonna be finishing up on time today. That's great. Just alerts, right? Nothing crazy. The next homework should be literally ready, and I will be the approver, so you can assign it to me. Okay, so I'm gonna be looking for you guys to assign me. I'm gonna approve your homework, and then it will be marked. If it didn't mark, that means you'll have to redo it. Maybe I'll write some comments why it did march, so we can at least work on it. Okay, any questions? All right, perfect. I will see you guys on Thursday. See you in the next one, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.